Hello, my name is Teresa Chickwitz, and I'm honored to be here representing Betrayal Project USA. We're a victim-led organization dedicated to exposing institutional betrayal, honoring those that we lost, and pursuing justice of crimes committed under the guise of public health and COVID-19. You can learn more about our work, view victim stories, submit your story, and get involved by visiting our website at betrayalprojectusa.org. You can also follow us on Rumble and BitChute and Twitter, or X now, by searching Betrayal Project USA or going to our website and linking to our social media pages there as well. Today, I have the privilege of speaking with Valerie Daniels, who was impacted with the deadly and also just dangerous hospital COVID shots in the state of Georgia. Valerie, thank you so much for your courage for being here and sharing your story publicly. I'd love it if you could just take a little moment here and just tell us about how your life was before you received the COVID shots and leading up before COVID. You want to just kind of tell us what was going on in your life then?
Thank you for having me. I'm Valerie. I was a nurse. I mean, once a nurse, always a nurse, but I started nursing in, I was 20 years old. So 2005, 2006, I had twin boys, 18, 19 years old. And then I went to school forever. And within 2 years, I had my nursing. And then I got my bachelor's and master's. And throughout that time, from 2000 to 2021, I was always just climbing the ladder, trying to be professional and learn and learn and learn. So I had multiple different careers within the hospital. And then after I got my master's, I went to hospice.
Wow. Yeah.
And then boom, the world fell.
Wow. Valerie, before we kind of get into your shot story, do you mind telling us what was your attitude kind of leading up into the COVID experience? You were working in a hospital. What did you know about it? What were you being told behind the scenes?
Well, at the time it came, I was no longer working in infectious disease. I had just left nursing education and went to hospice. So I'd only got my little tidbits from the doctors and nurses that I trusted. I was actually scared. I went through Ebola training, Ebola tabletop. That terrified everybody. How they had to package people, and they were going to drive ghost EMSs to make sure the news wasn't tracing down how that Ebola patient was doing. So I went to those kind of things as a nurse, and then fast forward, we were already, like, every year, most of us always got the flu shot. You know, they were actually pushing an agenda type fear mongering within the learning system of nursing. So
Wow.
it's almost like it indoctrinated myself, and my peers. I can't tell you that I don't recall working with people that didn't think the same, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. So your life all changed once COVID happened and you had moved out of that department. How did everything happen? Was your family also vaccinated as well? Let's just say leading up to that as well.
So the Dover incident, the infamous Dover incident, I worked at that facility. So I worked under that doctor that caught her. And God bless his soul, he passed away this year from cancer. But 9 days after her passing out is when I took my first shot. I remember going to a PRN shift and saying, "Hey, is she okay? What happened?" "She's fine. We'll talk about it, or you'll end up in HR about the PR. She just has syncope every month." That's what I got told. So, and they were like, "We don't want to scare the public to not take the shot." Verbally, I was told that. And then the infectious disease doctor, he was still questioning it. He was like, "There's some issues with the PCR." And he taught me about ivermectin. So I don't know where the government protocol is what come and took over. And I remember being in-house, only certain doctors could order certain meds. So they were really strict about who could order certain drugs. And infectious disease was the only one that could order like ivermectin. So
Wow.
at that time, that was before I worked. Before COVID came, I'd learned that just as a knowledge working under that doctor. So fast forward, and during that one PRN shift, I had asked that and asked if he was nervous, and he was like, "Well, we're not testing if they're asymptomatic. You don't do that, because I trusted those doctors that I worked with, so I felt they had a good handle on it." And then that happened where she passed out, and I still took a dang jab because I thought it was just to flatten the curve and that she just passes out every month. Like, I was oblivious to that fact. And then, of course, I took my first one in December and my second one in January. And then all summer long, I remember choking. I remember choking a lot. And then I ended up trading, I think, 2 cars because I had numbness because I was in hospice then. So I had numbness down my leg, and I thought it was the way this truck sat versus because I had a big truck and then a little car. So I thought it was that. And then I went to chiropractor, and then I went to what's the spine doctors? Anyways, went to spine doctor to make sure that wasn't, got a steroid shot. Stuff was just weird, and numbness in my toes. And then I remember, let's see, fast forwarding, can't talk now. I have aphasia type issues, and I make up words. I just make them up, like words you'd never ever hear that are not in the dictionary. I do make them up.
I think that's pretty common, to have memory fog and different things, yeah. Right?
So I'm a little goofy now, and I'm just like, I'll own it. They made me this way. I'm gonna own it. So, so fast forward to all summer, feeling like I was choking, and the numbness down my legs, going to spine, going to chiro, and then not thinking anything. We're lifting 350-pound patients by ourselves. I thought maybe I injured myself. So. Here comes November. We had a motorcycle at the time, and we went on a motorcycle ride. And I thought something had hit me in the eye. I was like, all week long, I was like, it really, like, I couldn't even touch my eye. Like, it hurt to even touch my eyelid. And then I was like, I wonder if you elbowed me in my sleep or something. And I couldn't even touch my eye. And then by that Friday, before the 21st, I went to my last patient, my little veteran patient. I love that. I love my little veteran patients. Anyway, so I went to him, and right before I got there, I was drinking something, and I pulled up, and I kept noticing, this is a little sidebar, but I kept noticing every time I'd get out of the car, I wasn't parked far enough up. I was like, surely I pulled all the way up. But I kept noticing, when that one day when I got there, I had just choked like really, really bad. So I got inside, and my eye was killing me, and I did my assessment best I could. And then I was like, I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go ahead and go to my eye doctor because it was just down the road. Got over there to the eye doctor. He didn't see anything. He was like, maybe you scratched it. Maybe something did hit your eye on the motorcycle. And so we got some steroid eye drops or something. That's what he gave me. And on Saturday, me and my husband and my daughter, we went out, and I didn't feel right all day. And I called my family that night before bed, and I said, something's really wrong with my eye. I said, I don't know if I have a tumor or what's going on. I said, but something's severely wrong, and I'm probably going to have to go to the hospital. I just want y'all to know. I said, but I'm going to try to go to sleep. So, and by 6 a.m., I was calling the local ER because we got 2 campuses. I was like, do y'all got an MRI machine? And they were like, no, you'll have to go downtown. I was like, well, dang it. I already knew that, So I get my aunt to come get me because my daughter my husband didn't want to bring my daughter. It was COVID time, you still had to wear a mask to go to the hospital. So she took me, and by that time that she got here after 6 a.m., I had slurred speech. I started recording myself talking because it was that bad. And then I had a drop foot, like I was walking, dragging one leg.
Gosh.
I thought it was a stroke or a tumor.
Paralysis, like a little bit of paralysis at this point. How many hours have it been so far since that happened? Since you received the first shot? How long has this been in the story?
So I had my first shot that December, 9 days after the Dover, and then my second shot in January, and then I went all summer long with these weird symptoms. Thought it was just work, and then by November is when it hit, and then we went, and I told him, went to bed that night, and she took me to the hospital. Ataxia, apraxia, aphasia, dysphagia, monocular diplopia. I mean, blindness in this eye, and the ER doc, precious neuro doc, she was like, you're going to have a CT, and I need a pregnancy test, and I need a chest X-ray. And here I am still in my nurse. I was like, I'm not pregnant. I don't have a history. I don't even have a, I've had a hysterectomy.
You know yourself.
Yeah. I was like, and I don't need a chest X-ray. I said, I'm not breathing funny. I was like, I don't need none of that. And I said, and the CT's not going to show something. And it. She's like, well, we got to cross our T's and dot our I's. I was like, okay. So she comes back, your CT is negative. Can you tell me what color this sign is? And I'm like, lady, I printed those signs. I'm the one that put them there. I know what color they are, but it don't look that color. It'd be like a red sign or something, but it looked pink and blurry. And then I started having that Laterman sign or whatever with the MS. And then light, it just felt like light was daggers. Like I was screaming. I couldn't get anything dark enough. It was that bad. And then pain, and I can't even look at it.
I wanted people at home to understand what you were going through, right?
Yeah, pain, and then really hyper reflexive, and really I lost proprioception, so I had no sense of where my body was in space, especially on my left side. I kept telling the doctor, I was like, if you took an eraser, like on a patient, drawing like where pain is or where they had an injury or amputee or whatever, and how you point to it with a little drawing. I said, if you just took an eraser to the entire left side of my body, that's what mentally I feel like I am, just half a person now. So it was really freaky to wake up every morning after all that and look at my face and see a whole face, because in my mind I only have a right side of my body. Yeah. So anyways, she told me the CT was negative. I was like, yeah, I told you I needed an MRI. She's like, yeah, you're going to go have a 4-hour MRI. I was like, yeah, I figured. So, and since then I've had, it's been 4 years, and I think some years I had 2 MRIs per year. So I've had a ton of MRIs since then. Wow. But so ended up 3 days in the hospital with 1,000 milligrams of IV steroids. I was like, are you serious? 1,000 milligrams? She's like, yeah, it has to cross the blood-brain barrier. I was like, I've never even given over 250 milligrams of steroids to a patient. So here I was, in just almost like this insane state where nothing was right. And I couldn't piece things together. I couldn't, dark things that were dark, I couldn't distinguish. Like still, I have trouble with things that are black on black, no depth perception. I have a tremor now. Yeah.
Tremors. I'm seeing it on camera there.
Yeah. Wow. It kind of sucks, but, and then we got to December, because this was late November. I still couldn't drive. They had to get all kinds of excuses, and my first appointment ended up being neuro-ophthalmology. And he come out there and saw me, or I went to see him. He's like, how'd you get an appointment here? I was like, the hospital told me I needed to come see you because I had an optic neuritis, severe. And it never, I mean, I had so many tests. God almighty. Since then, I've been just constantly at the doctor. And this past couple of years, I'm just like, I ain't going the extra stuff for $60 every time we go, unless it's therapy. I would demand therapy over going to constant doctors.
Oh,
I got put on so much medicine and side effect after side effect. I was like, I want to go to PT and that's it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear this happen to you, and it's happened to so many people too. What can you tell us a little bit about? Let's just see. So you're working in the hospital. What kind of pressure, or did you receive at all on your job for getting? Can you tell us a little bit about what was happening in the environment in the hospital with somebody working there? What did you notice?
Well, while in hospital, because I wasn't in hospital during that part, but while in hospital, it was like our nature. We all got a flu shot, you know. And then post me being in hospice, I think everybody questioned it. Like, I think a lot of people, even our patients, they were like, I don't want to nurse unless they've had a shot. So, I mean, it was a double-edged sword.
Wow. Did they ever say that in order to work there back even before COVID was released, did they say that you were mandated to receive shots in the hospital there?
I wasn't in the hospital at that time, so
okay.
I don't know.
But prior to that, that wasn't the culture of the hospital. Wasn't
the flu shot was you had to have a religious exemption just to get out of the flu shot.
Okay. Where did you receive your shots? Actually, where did you go to get them?
We had the COVID drive-through things. Everybody tries to say that was FEMA camps or whatever, COVID FEMA camps, but the one that I saw that John Rich showed on the Nashville thing, it looked the same as our little Chattanooga one. It was just a drive-through. Mm-hmm. The way that part that they set up, that part was a good rollout. I mean, it went smoothly, you know.
They made it very accessible and very easy.
It went smoothly. It did go good, you know. So
they wanted it to go good, didn't they? Because they wanted it.
The East powers that be wanted it to be that way. They wanted to convince us all.
Did they tell you when you were driving through the things that you would experience from the shot? Did they give you?
My husband drove me to take it. They made you park for like 15 minutes to make sure you didn't have a side effect. I don't recall like being told, hey, you're going to get something. I don't even recall that I knew that it was mRNA. I just knew that it was COVID shot.
Wow.
You know, like looking back, I can't say, well, yeah, I was told no or this, or I do recall all of the like anti-vax being pushed down big time. I was a nerd. I got my flu shot all the time. I'm like, I would rather not die. Thanks. I'll take one. I didn't know that people would be mad scientists and put poison in everybody. I didn't know that. I had no clue.
Mm-hmm. What were you most surprised about? So after your eye started feeling like you had a tumor in it, do you want to kind of walk us through what kind of the progression of the symptoms that you had, maybe from that very first symptom to some of the things you're experiencing today?
After I come out of the hospital, it was bad. You couldn't touch my skin. I couldn't be touched. Everything hurt. My hair hurt. Everything hurt really bad. And then going through the stages of grief of what all's occurring, because you know, who knows if I was going to get any worse. Even the neuro-ophthalmologist, he was like, well, let's hope you don't lose your other eye. But sir, really? Thanks.
Wow.
so going through that, and then just having to go to therapy all the time, and now becoming dependent. I can't drive anymore. I have to have somebody take me, help me, do for me. You know, it sucks.
Yeah. And how, so, wow. So you were a very active person before the shots, obviously, and you love to do a lot of different things that you've been prevented to do now. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? About, what's happened since the shots?
Well, my freedoms, I'm still free. I know that. It's just not everybody has time to come pick me up or take me or do that. Or, everybody has their own lives as well. I think this whole COVID thing separated everybody, like just pieced everybody back out, and nobody has time for anybody. And, mentally, like, I'm sure I get on people's nerves. I'm sorry. You
No,
know,
it's
I'm literally like on a one-way track, and if you ain't riding, okay.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, look at how much your life has been impacted by this,
Yeah.
when compared to what they told you, what I was going to protect you, and then all these things that have now,
Well, and
come.
I didn't know about Tuskegee experiment. I didn't know about Plum Island. I didn't know about all these things, and now I do. And now some people got some very serious questions to answer.
Yeah.
And it needs to go down like some Aaron Brockovich style stuff.
Yeah, we say crimes against humanity. We just think we're completely lied to by the powers, because there's a ton of money that is being made, right, from the shots.
And now everybody's on a rat wheel of illness. So big pharma, it's just this rat wheel.
Yeah.
It needs to be broken. The spell needs to be broken.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better. Can you tell us, do you know what batch number? Maybe it's in your record somewhere, but do you happen to know what batch number you took?
It starts with an 80. I have to look.
No, that's okay.
I can go get it.
Or maybe even the brand of shot or the manufacturer.
Moderna.
Okay, you have Moderna. Okay.
See if
And did you so you went to let's just say to get treatment for your eye and some of the other symptoms that you mentioned. Did you see your PCP, or did you go to the hospital with those symptoms? Where did you go after that? Once you started having these symptoms?
After we were in the maintenance phase.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, I went to more than 11 or 12 specialists. I had to go to GI, GU, so that was 2. I had to go to neuro-ophthalmology. I had to go to neurology. I had to go to PCP. I had to go to neuropsych. I had to go to occupational therapy. I had to go to PT. I had to go to speech therapy. I had to go to what's that other one? Pelvic floor training. I had to go to there's another one. Oh, ophthalmology, regular ophthalmology.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did those providers treat you once? Did you go in and just say, "Hey, I'm vax injured," or did you ever
I didn't know I was vax injured until after Helene. Helene is the reason I came to X.
Wow.
That's why I wore my shirt, the stronger than the storm.
Helene's
the whole reason I came to X. I was in music la la land trying to make myself feel good,
Yeah.
Yeah. I had no clue until I came to X and learned it.
Yeah. Okay. And so you saw a lot of some different podcasts where you're seeing, wow, actually everything that they're mentioning.
I didn't even jump in learning that. I started learning the Rockefeller lie that we need to break.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So you started with the history, and then all of a sudden you said, wait a minute, that actually did happen to me too.
I think scrolling, I think that's how some paths cross. And then Dr. Mackis and Dr. Kirkmore and Mary Talley Bowden and I think Malone all pointed to, because I was like, I wonder if MS was a side effect, because I didn't know. I just started seeing it in my feed. I was like, I wonder if MS was a side effect. And they were like, yes. I was like, and then I typed in MS and COVID vaccine. Oh, I sat there and probably cried for like 6 hours reading all the evidence. I was like, oh God, dear God, what have they done? What have they done?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you, so once you started to have these symptoms, did you start to seek, treatment to try to calm these side effects yourself? Or did you maybe find some things online to to try to deal with them, or maybe your provider said do this, do that, or hey, that it's really
I
just
followed my provider a lot, and then anytime I injured myself, I would demand more PT.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm.
and then finally I got tired of trying new things. I was like, so I had weaned myself off of like all the extra things I was on with this medicine for that, this medicine for that. I finally just weaned off of it all because I was at home, so it wouldn't bother me to be incontinent because I can just change clothes, stuff like that. And then just certain things I started weaning off. And then I think for the past 2 years, I started really weaning off. And then when I learned about the deep state, I was like, no, y'all can have all your medicine right back. I ain't taking no more. You're charging my pharmacy, or you're charging my insurance $20,000 a month anyways. Y'all just making rat wheel money anyway. If I swallow that crap, I ain't taking no more.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Dr. Peter McCullough? In your research, have you found him?
Yeah, I think he was another one that I found early on because I was also a cardiac nurse. So as a cardiac nurse educator, I had a CVRN, BC. I was board certified for a lot of things. PCCN, MSN, I had a lot of structure to my professional career for it to all come tumbling down.
And so what's so you're obviously home because people have got to drive you. You can't see, your blurred vision.
Yeah.
Is that, obviously back in the day, you really, it sounded like you loved your work and you enjoyed your work, but because of this, you're no longer able to work. Am I understanding that right?
Well, right now I feel like my only work is what God needs me to help show everybody, that we got to fix something. I can't, when it happened, it also felt like, well, hospice brought me closer to God anyways, just because it's spiritual. And when it happened, I remember asking one day, and the wind was blowing. I was like, what do you need me to do, God? What do you need me to do? And I didn't know that it was because of the injury or whatever. I was like, how do I make myself a new life? I literally built my entire career. I'm losing stuff, like, I don't know what you need me to do. And I just knew that music made me feel good. And so I tried to venture out and be, get popular on social media, which it don't happen. It just happens for a certain few, and everybody else is like, no. So, but I love to promote music, like good artists, especially indie artists that need to be heard. So that was what I was basically doing for the last 3-4 years until I got tired of that and started learning after Helene, because Helene is literally what woke me up, stopped me in my tracks. I watched it all unfold on TikTok of how they weren't saving people. And I knew right then. My husband looked at me and he said, against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I was like, okay, my husband just gave me a green light to go help save some people against our government. Because, they could have done way more than what they did there.
What was your husband's attitude towards what happened to you and everything during COVID? What was his attitude?
Just love.
Yeah. Was he shocked by what happened?
Is it what?
Was he shocked by what happened? Or
no, if he was shocked or not. Yeah. I don't know. I think we all we're shocked.
Yeah. He didn't have any symptoms though himself, no?
No, but I made him get 2 shots too. I even got, and I have twin boys. They're 20 now. I made them get shots. One of them, I even had to take him to the ER and the doctor for cardiac problems at 16 years old. Wow. I didn't know. I thought he was having an emotional breakdown. I did not know.
Wow.
But they scanned it and everything was fine, but I could have lost my son.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's and just these things they're supposed to be safe, right?
Yeah.
But you're
never again. That's why I'm like, no, y'all need to stop this bio weapon. I'm like, by God, I'm not giving up.
You're absolutely right. So when you're seeking treatment lists from providers, did they treat you differently after you said, no, I'm actually vax injured? Hey, I need some help here.
I
Did they
just now got to tell my neurologist this year that it was from that. I think there's nobody in my area. Everybody in my area thinks X is the plague. They won't get on it. No, I'm not getting on that. That's debunked. That's this, that's that. They won't get on here onto X and try to learn it. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll bring it to y'all. So I screenshot a lot of it and throw it back to Facebook. And of course, I'm shadowed. Zuckerberg trolled me, they don't want me talking.
No, they don't want people talking. We've seen a little bit recently just with what's going on, from the top figures. Finally, we're getting some news coverage on some things that are happening. There's a lot more work to do. A lot more work to do.
Yeah, there is, and hopefully it can get done safely.
Yeah. Can you tell me, did you think about early on about, legal action? Did you hear, is anybody else taking legal action, or maybe a desire yourself?
So here's another thing. I didn't know that it was the jab, but after the jab, they made you fill out those V-safes and send it to your phone all that time. Well, I think one of my V-safes, which I need to find that information, but I think one of them, it was after I got injured, and I was like, I'm already injured, and because I worked infectious disease, I went ahead and filled out my own VAERS.
Okay.
And then when I went to my neurologist and told him that I'd filled out a VAERS, he's like, oh, you did? He said, I was like, yeah. I mean, make sure if this is from the vaccine, we might as well make sure I'm going to fill it out. And he's like, yeah, don't take another one. Wow. The floor, you could tell the floor fell out from under him after I told him I filled out my own VAERS.
Sounds like you weren't the only one that he's heard the story from. It sounds like he's heard it 50 times. Yeah.
So, and this past January when I was like, fluoride's a neurotoxin. Statins are bad for you. You need a brain before you need teeth. And you could tell the floor just started sinking out from under him. And he's like, oh Lord. I was like, yeah, we got a lot to unlearn and relearn. And that, and then the deep state, evidently for years, I could find my VAERS. But this past year, after I learned that I was actually injured because of Chris from the other veteran that has MS and blindness on X, and he has severe issues. And then several other people that Lindsay had mentioned that have MS from it. Like it's like we're doing patient intake on our own, That's what it feels like. But once I learned that other people also had MS from it, I was like, oh, this is bigger than what we think. And then I started hearing about the cancers that everybody's getting. And then I'm like, oh, this is a lot bigger than what we think. Just knowing in our circle who all had gotten cancer, and just this past week who all's had a stroke on my Facebook feed.
Wow.
So I definitely think we're in the fallout right now.
Yeah. We're some of our viewers right now are seeing just one of the MRIs that you pushed through talking about lesions. Can you show us, talk about what we're looking at right here?
Those white spots are the lesion. So, my MRI showed how many lesions, and then one of the most severe one, the one that affects me the most, is that one right there. So in the very top one in that picture, there's a center dot. So that one's sitting right in my right middle peduncle. So that's where your afferent and efferent pathways travel. That's all of my signals going through my spine goes through that one lesion. So.
Wow.
So, of course, I think they try to reroute, but the damage is there. So anywhere where it's a big, bright white spot or little dots.
Wow. It's just incredible. Just incredible. And I'm so sorry. There's so many people that are impacted by this. And if somebody's listening to this for the first time, please get in touch with us, and we'll be sure to connect you with everybody to help record your story. Talking, Valerie, again, I'm so sorry to hear this and everything that you've been through and that you've been impacted. You talked a little bit about some of the things, how your life was at the beginning and now. Just kind of wrapping up, do you mind just telling us some of your final thoughts about what you'd like everybody to know, hearing your story, or anything just about in general? Go ahead, share your final thoughts. Yeah.
Mad scientists are real. And there's definitely a biblical attack occurring with biochemical warfare. And people need to understand it. For us to understand it, you have to go back in history. And you also have to talk to your military people. It should not have unraveled or intertwined the medical community. I believe that the whole entire thing has pigeonholed the medical community into this bad situation, especially with the admin not paying attention to what's happened.
Wow.
Because I honestly think they're blocked from actually knowing the truth. Because if they go by the numbers, the data, the all the stuff that they see versus what people on the ground like Harry, people on the ground that were nurses that are all like, oh, all of a sudden just, your life insurance people are going crazy right now. Disability people are probably going crazy right now. I'm sure there's red flags everywhere. It's just pinpointing who's going to arrest an evildoer.
Wow.
Because it's worldwide.
Yeah. If somebody is vax injured right now, any particular advice that you'd like to give to them about just the treatment that you've seen, or just anything you'd like to say to them?
Sadly, the spike protein, we don't have. So I had to do it for nursing education. I had to do a presentation that I did was on amyloidosis to just introduce myself to that job. That was what I chose because I'd never heard of it. We don't have a protease. So your protease helps fold your protein so that your body can use them. We don't have a protease for the spike protein. So I've not tried any detox, anything. I've done ivermectin. I'm not one that's just going to jump on a bandwagon and go pretend like we're going to magically get better, because I don't know. I can't promise that, and I can't say that. Hopefully that there is hope. I do believe with part of this that the nanotech and all of that's going to come into play, and what's being sprayed in the air. So it's hard to have a good outlook until somebody stops something, because it's all tied together.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm positive. I mean, I can sit here and smile about it, but I'm like, somebody needs to pull it together.
Yeah.
Because we're about to sink.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that you're here telling your story. And if this is the first time that somebody's hearing of this topic, or, or perhaps they're suffering at home and they're realizing, gosh, I have a lot of the same symptoms that Valerie's mentioned here. We really need people to come to tell their stories. We know that together with the hospital protocol deaths and the shots, I mean, we're over 7 million, injured and deaths, 1.6 million hospital protocol deaths. We really are collecting these stories because we need the nation to understand what's happening to our people, and that there is hope out there. Here, at Betrayal Project USA, we have support groups for shot injured victims. We also have for hospital protocol deaths as well. And we're here 4 nights a week. We have different support groups going on. We have prayer groups. We have a lot of different things and resources on our website, betrayalprojectusa.org. Can direct you to a lot of different providers, information, resources, follow the money, everything to help to help anybody who's new to this, and just to help you along the way. If you need just a friendly voice, we're here to help you guys. So if you know anybody that has a similar story, reach out. You'll get somebody like myself to help record your story and to help share it, where you can find us on Rumble and Twitter, as well as Facebook, all the social media. You'll be able to find us. So be sure to search that. again, we just thank you, everybody, for your time. Valerie, again, for sharing your story and your family as well. Wish you the best. And again, thank you for coming on and sharing your story with us. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully we have, something to move forward with. I mean, I don't want to leave on there's no hope. No, I think there's hope. We just need everybody to wake up.
Absolutely. And you know what? There's a lot of, like I said, folks like Dr. Peter McCullough is a great, and Mary Talley Bowden, they have a lot of great things to say about helping people detox and helping to recover. As you mentioned, no guarantees, but a lot of people have found relief by following some of those people who we're connected to as well. So again,
and Barbara O'Neill, right? In the stuff that she talks about. I believe more of the stuff that got hidden now in history versus what they try to sell us.
Oh, it's worth digging some of that stuff back out and taking a second look, isn't it?
So, apricot seeds, all of it.
Yeah, and you're going to follow on our Betrayal Project USA site. We have a lot of resources about some of the history of how things came to be. So if you guys have particular resources that you'd like to share, please send them to us as well. And we'd love to share them with everybody else to make sure they're available for everyone. So again, I hope you'll contact us. We'd love to hear from you. You always have, a family here of people who believe your story, who want to help. And again, Valerie, thank you so much for your courage. And we hope people will share this story. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. I'll go ahead and we'll sign off here.
Thank you.